Hello there, everybody. This is Sophia Mona Lisa of the Golden Race Center and the Roseville Mystery School. And today's video journal is called The Purpose of Purification for Your Ascension. And of course, this purification, as you can see from the images here, is a direct reference to the purification that happens within the alchemical process. The alchemical process has 7 steps, and the first 2 steps are calcination, which is purification by fire, which is represented here by the sacred masculine and the sun. And the second step is dissolution, which is purification by water, which is represented here by the moon and the sacred feminine. Now, in addition to the 7 steps of alchemy, there are actually 4 stages. And there is a stage known as the albedo stage, which relates to purification. And I'll speak to that a little bit more. But believe me, there's no way you could be more surprised than I am that I am doing this video journal today. Today is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. So let me tell you how this all came about. First of all, recently on April 11th, we experienced a Mercury inferior conjunction. And a Mercury inferior conjunction occurs when the Mercury luminary body and sun come together in the underworld. The Mercury inferior conjunction marks the middle point for the entire Mercury retrograde phase, which is about 3 weeks. And if you've listened to any of my other video journals, you may recall that I have repeatedly stressed that the Mercury inferior conjunction is the most potent, most transformational time in the entire Mercury synodic cycle, which in and of itself is an alchemical process and is even encoded as alchemy into the astrological glyph for Mercury as a luminary body. Now, a Mercury inferior conjunction has a window of 3 days, the day before, the day of, and the day after. And I love this description here about the albedo stage of alchemy, because the Mercury inferior conjunction event is the albedo stage event in the Mercury synodic cycle. And you can pause and read this for yourself, but essentially this albedo stage, this Mercury inferior conjunction, which happened April 11th, okay, so that is basically a week ago, just less than a week ago, maybe 6 days. Yeah, 6 days ago, was a purification by light event. And this is highly significant because it was on that day that I was doing my spiritual practice. And part of my spiritual practice that I've added in has to do with this book called I Am the Open Door. Okay. Ascended Master Discourses. This book was put together by Peter Mount Shasta, and he describes how this book was put together in the second volume of his autobiography. And also, he's done some video journals where he's been interviewed, and he talks about how this book came together. So I won't go into that because you can find that information very easily if you're interested in it. But as a part of my sadhana, what I have been doing recently is I've just been asking my divine self, okay, which message in this book do I need to be aware of today? And on April 11th, the day of the Mercury inferior conjunction, the day of purification by light, I happened to open this book up to a passage in the 11th discourse. And it happens to be all about, Discourse 11 happens to be all about purification and why purification is so crucial for us if we are consciously choosing to engage our ascension process. And so while I was reading that discourse again, because of course I'd already read it and had highlighted a bunch of stuff, all of a sudden, all of this guidance started coming through, kind of like, and I've never had this happen before, kind of like a movie where like I was being shown that I was creating this video journal around Discourse 11, where I would be reading you Discourse 11. And as I'm going through the reading, different slides would be coming up to move you through the discourse. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Whether it's my divine self, my I am presence, or Saint Germain guiding me and inspiring me to do this, I knew I had to do it. And it doesn't matter if it's my divine self or Saint Germain, because at that level, we are one. And so are you one with us. And so the next message I got was, okay, when you complete that one, I'd like you to do it for all of the other discourses in the book. And I was like, okay, this is something new. This is something different, and I'm happy to do it. There are 14 discourses in this book. So I will get to them. I will start doing those for you. And as a result, I am actually creating a brand new playlist on my YouTube channel, which is the Roseville Mystery School YouTube channel. The new playlist will be called I Am the Open Door Discourses, so that you'll be able to find them there. Now, before I start reading Discourse 11 to you, let me just give you a little bit of information about my work and how it kind of ties into all of this and with the alchemical part of it. So we are currently in a Venus synodic cycle known as the Leo goddess. And still, while we were in the Capricorn goddess cycle, Sekhmet came forward and told me that she is the representative goddess for this Leo divine royalty goddess journey, which is a 19-month journey. Well, if you've seen some of my recent video journals on Violet Tara, I'm now working with her, and she revealed to me that because her work with the violet flame that she is the mother of, and she is a divine mother aspect, as is Sekhmet, she explained to me that the way that Sekhmet is a Leo goddess, Violet Tara is a Scorpio goddess. Now, what that meant to me for someone who works with the Venus synodic cycle is this. At the time of your birth, you will have a birth chart cast, and Venus will be in one of the 12 astrological signs. Simultaneously, at the time of your birth, one of Venus's goddesses will be on the world stage. And that goddess on the world stage is informing you and informing the placement of Venus in your natal chart. So you not only have a placement of Venus in your chart, you also have a Venus goddess in terms of which synodic cycle Venus is in at the time of your birth. And just since I'm mentioning this, you also have a Mars god, depending on which synodic cycle for Mars is on the world stage, which also informs wherever Mars is located on your chart. This was a huge aha for me because Scorpio was the goddess on the world stage when I was born. And so if you've heard me say I'm a Scorpio goddess, that's what I'm referring to. Then the piece that came forward is, excuse me, not only is Sekhmet the Leo goddess for this current current Venus synodic cycle. And as you may recall from my most recent video, I was shown that Kuan Yin will be the Pisces goddess for the next synodic cycle. Violet Tara told me they are all aspects of the Divine Mother. And because of this March lunar eclipse that we just had, which was the only lunar eclipse out of 6 eclipses over 2 years on the Aries Libra pathway of conscious equal partnership, there was this whole phenomenal, I called it a reboot, I'm going to say like a huge dispensation from the Divine Mother coming in so that we can come into conscious equal partnership with her. And so that's why it says here, in terms of this alchemical process, because the Divine Mother is coming in to help us with the alchemical process that purification is a part of. That's why I was told by Sekhmet and Violet Tara to identify Sekhmet as a Leo Divine Mother and Violet Tara as a Scorpio Divine Mother, which is like above and beyond the goddesses on the world stage for the Venus synodic cycle. I hope that made sense to you. So this is really incredible because calcination, the first step in alchemy, as I mentioned at the beginning, is purification by fire. Sekhmet, the Leo goddess, right? The Leo Divine Mother. Leo is a fire element sign, okay? Purification by fire. Sekhmet as the Leo Divine Mother helping us with the calcination. And then the second step, dissolution, purification by water. Scorpio, which Violet Tara is the Divine Mother of, Scorpio is a water element. I mean, I could have never just like made this up and put it all together. This was like a huge download from these two aspects of the Divine Mother. So I wanted to bring that piece in with you, particularly because it does then tie back to my most recent video journal about this next phase of the Venus synodic cycle that we're in, the Leo goddess, moving into the Inanna underworld phase on the 27th. So that's about, let's see, 11 days from today. Okay, I will put a link at the end to that video journal if you haven't seen it. So I wanted to explain that so that you can kind of have a context to how this Discourse 11 from Saint Germain that I'm going to read to you is related to the work that I am already doing for the Cosmic Sophia through the Galactic New Earth Project, and why it's kind of like coming in and dovetailing and everything. Okay. In that same vein, let me say that Saint Germain uses some language that is a little bit different than my language, which is perfectly fine. I would never presume to question Saint Germain's language. But everybody has their own way of speaking and the vocabulary that they use when they're talking. And so I just kind of wanted to give you this heads up, especially if you've been listening to my work for quite a while, to kind of help your lower mind relax and sit back and take in the wisdom coming from Saint Germain. He uses the word God a lot. And for me, with my work, when I'm talking about God or the source of all things, whatever it is that you relate to, I use the term Sophia-Christ. I know other people have a tendency to use God, goddess, to acknowledge the sacred union of the feminine and the masculine. And while he doesn't speak to that overtly, I feel very confident that when he's saying God, that it is an inclusive way of speaking to the sacred union of the feminine and the masculine. He also refers to the new golden age. Sometimes he calls it, in a kind of an abbreviation way, the new age. For me, I translate that in terms of my language as when I'm talking about the new earth. He also speaks to the Father. And again, this is another term which I believe is inclusive of both aspects of the Christ in Sophia as Divine Father and Divine Mother. And then he speaks a lot to Jesus, whom I call Yeshua, who is also known by the name Isa. So I just wanted to share the languages, kind of bridge them again, solely for the purpose of the lower mind, so that it will relax and take it in. So let me get on my glasses here without any further ado. I am going to start the reading the discourse. What I will do is I am going to turn off the video so that, again, for the purpose of your lower mind, so that you're not seeing me and your mind's being reactive to whatever you're seeing. You can just hear my voice and watch the slides that I have created for you. So here we go. Discourse 11, Saint Germain. As I have already been introduced, I will say a few words to you about the way each of you may assist me in my work, which is that of bringing in the new golden age. But you must understand that before you can assist me, first you must be absolutely free. For if I gave you a certain work to carry out and you became sidetracked along the way by some desire or human trait that had not been purified out of you, then it would hardly do, would it? So, dear ones, you see how earnestly I desire your freedom, with which attribute the activity of helping individuals attain their freedom I am most closely associated. That as one great brotherhood of free beings, we may go forth together and bring light and freedom to the rest of the people of the earth. This is the work in which I am involved. Do you care to help me? I hope more than anything that you do desire to help me. For only in this way, by becoming a part of this great white brotherhood, which is also a sisterhood, will you ever attain the happiness, the joy of the glorious ascended state, which is your destiny. As this state of freedom is only open to those that are pure, for the substance of which it is composed is pure and incapable of containing any imperfection, then the only thing for you to do is get busy and purify yourselves. And by that, dear ones, I mean now. And how do you purify yourself? It is so simple. Why, first and foremost, you must desire to be pure. For as you know, what your attention is upon, you become. And if your attention is on purity, you have the battle already 50% conquered. Now, for the remaining 50%, you will have to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Examine yourself as though you were to present yourself to me for military inspection. And I assure you, I have very good vision and will, as they say, look behind the ears. Now, what I want you to see is God knows you better than you know yourself. You can't fool him and get away by putting on a front, which some of you try to do, even to the extent that you fool yourselves. For really, to look at yourself and say, now, what is it that I really need to work on? What things in my world are holding me back? In what ways could I be a stronger, more obedient, more loving, and better person? To do that takes courage. And dear friends, if you are to walk this path to victory, mastery, eternal dominion over all things human, courage is something you all need more of. You need courage and you need faith. But before you can have either of these, you must have hope. For hope is the foundation of all human achievement, and without hope can nothing constructive be achieved. Hope is the pure desire that what you wish for is possible, and that it is possible for you. It is the key to all good that has ever come into your world and that will ever come into your world. Hope is the open doorway into the very heart of God. Hope leads you to faith, and faith is the realization that what God has allowed you to desire is possible. And the inspiration by your example of that hope and faith in others is charity. As a child of the one God, I am, you contain within you all the attributes of the Father. You, as a conscious creator, may command through the understanding and exercise of your inherent divine faculties all that God Himself may command, and it is your privilege to do so. And it is my privilege to help you attain that state of oneness with the Father. The I am presence that all you hope for becomes an immediate reality through the instantaneous consciousness and power of the light that I am. It is my hope that you will all go ahead now and begin to attain what I have shown you, and that with my assistance, you will soon learn to make that a vision a reality. For as you learn obedience to the great I am presence, which is within and above you, and which you learn to contact within your heart, with which presence I and all the ascended masters are one. As you purify yourselves, we shall be able to assist you more and evermore, and ever work with and instruct you from within. And you will find that as you become purer and purer, we are drawing closer and ever closer to you. And if by miracle all the things that you could have wished for are beginning to come into being, for all that you shall ever attain exists already as possibility, and it is only waiting for you to claim it and make it your reality. In this new consciousness that you are moving into, you will, though still on this earth as a tangible, visible presence, through the assistance we alone are privileged to give, begin to live and work in your body of light, which you yourself have created and over which you are complete master. This will be the beginning of your entry into the kingdom of heaven. My dear friends, with your help, and if it is to succeed, I do need your help, we will go forth together as one great brotherhood of God, of which all are part, and make this kingdom a reality. This is the new golden age, in the birth of which you all have a mission. And it is in helping you to purify and perfect yourselves for that mission to move forward as master, the ladies as well, in which it is my honor and privilege to be of assistance to you. This is my great joy, for this time, as many of you are ready to move forth, is the time for which I have waited many centuries. In Europe, during the time leading up to the French Revolution, I worked for hundreds of years in tangible, visible form, though I assure you I could be quite invisible if I wished, in the attempt to divert the destructive forces that were then in action, and to attempt to bring forth the new age at that time. However, as has most often been the case, selfish human forces working through those in power interfered. And as the expansion of the cosmic light had not reached the degree that it now has, there was nothing that I could do to intercede. I had to withdraw and allow the inertia of human creation to take its course. Hence, the French Revolution. I want you to know, my friends, that now we shall succeed. The eternal decree has gone forth. Man shall be free. It is toward the realization of that freedom that I am now placing this truth before you, that through your own humble effort and with the least travail possible, you may attain that freedom. And I want to be crystal clear that only in knowing that truth and in the practice of that truth shall you be free. And that truth is, I am. For I am is the great key and password into the presence of God, your own God self, and is your own individual expression of the full manifestation of God in action. There have, through the ages, been many races and many languages, each with its own expression for divinity. And I do not wish to comment on the many expressions which sincere seekers may now be using. However, it is the Master's hope, and by masters I mean, of course, ascended masters, that all students of the light come to understand and to use at all times the expression, I am. Not only in their meditation, but in every phase of their lives and activities, to bring them as surely and steadily as possible through our assistance and their own steadfast application to that sure, certain dominion which is awaiting them. I cannot emphasize this enough, dear ones. There is no other expression, phrase, word, practice, or exercise that will raise you into the ascended master's consciousness, which is God consciousness, so certainly and swiftly as the conscious use and understanding of I am. This is the single consciousness that is one without a second, the consciousness of the ascended master. This is the single consciousness that all sincere students must attain. Although there are many so-called paths now being taught in our beloved America, there is in the end no real path, dear ones, but the straight path. And I am that path. I am is the open door into the very heart of God. The I am presence. Only I am will open the way to our direct ascended master assistance that is imperative if you are to have our sustained raising activity required for the ultimate step, ascension, which is your eternal clearance from the earth and your entry into the next octave of existence, the divine. It is this same ascension which Jesus attained and which you, with our assistance, may also attain. Only through the raising activity of I am the resurrection of my form and world is that ascension possible. When Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, it was to this way, that of the I am, to which he referred. Due to the opposition of forces and the subsequent distortion of the events surrounding his life and ministry, and the very words he spoke, having been subjected to by proponents of the many dogmas which are still prevalent today, there has been very little that has come to light of these teachings that he gave only to the few who were ready regarding the I am and his own use of I am decrees and affirmations, with which his statements, only some of which are recorded in the biblical records, are filled. Their very vibration, however, is indelibly imprinted in the aura of our planet. So deep was his understanding of their meaning and use, and so fully was he charged with the energy which their continual application brings forth, the power which all who hear repeated today the I am affirmations he used can feel. So too will many of you become so charged and raised that you will do the same works as the Master Jesus. As he himself said, greater works than these shall ye do. There are many that have done and are doing now these greater works, though for the most part, it is the nature of their work to remain silent and unknown. It is in precisely the same way as my brother Jesus, according to the same eternal law, by the same power of God, that I, Saint Germain, accomplished and am still accomplishing these works, and that you shall also. No, he that uses the I am has the kingdom of heaven, the full consciousness of God in action, and the ascended host of light, who are the full manifestation of that consciousness, always close at hand. That way, that kingdom is the I am that I am. I, Saint Germain, am one with that same presence that you are and that Jesus is. Is that not amazing? Why, it should be no more amazing than to say we are all one in the Father. It is only another much more direct way of saying the same thing. You see, my children, there is a tremendous difference between the understanding of oneness and the calling of oneness into action. This great difference is why I am, and wish you to be so adamant. And you know what adamant is, like a diamond, concerning your acceptance and use of the expression, the actual expression, I am. For it is only through that conscious expression from your own God self that the one consciousness can be called forth to act for and in you and raise you into your full being in the ascended state. Only through the assistance of the ascended host of light, which your use of the expression I am permits us to give, and which assistance is the sustaining power behind all calls of fully sustained effect, does anyone ever reach the ascended state. Though your application may be very great, and we assume that if you are serious, it will be, the only way those calls may be permanently sustained is through the addition of our sustaining light substance and activity that none not ascended, no matter what they claim, is capable of bringing into manifestation. For we are that light, and by that light alone shall you know us. I am going to give you some instruction now on the use of these affirmations, which expressions of your own divinity will bring about that which you wish through the dominion of your own God self, directed by the faculty, which is a twin faculty, visualization and qualification. You cannot have one without the other. Where there is thought, there is feeling. And where there is feeling, there is thought. Visualize that which your affirmation calls for already taking place. Then, at the same time, qualify that thought by your feeling. In other words, modulate your feeling energy flowing forth from your heart so that in the dual activity of the mind and heart, you focus the energy of your own I am presence on the manifestation which you, by your word, spoken or silent, are calling into being. By the power of God and by the divine law by which that power operates, that upon which you have focused your attention shall come into being as surely as day follows night. For it is law, and nothing can change the law. So do not despair when you are making a call and you do not see the immediate result. The result is there, though you may not yet have sufficient inner vision to see it. For God works from the inside out. That is, all manifestation that takes place on the inner planes of existence first. Then, as more conscious light substance is added, begins to manifest on the other more dense planes. Though remember, all planes are God planes. God is everywhere, and there is nowhere that God is not. It is by the very fact of God everywhere that what you conceive in your mind in one part of the universe can manifest in another part of the universe. For there is only one substance, one consciousness, and that one is the consciousness of your own God self. I am. When you use an affirmation, dear ones, keep in mind that it is the power of God alone that is the sure, certain fulfillment of your call. And consequently, there need be no rush or mental strain involved at all. As certainly as you say the words in the center of your being, the manifestation is going forth, and that for which you are calling is coming into being. Nay, it is all ready. The affirmations below are of inestimable benefit to all who seek the light, to those who aspire to mastery, and to my students, I especially recommend them. I am the living light. I am the presence of God. I am. I am the open door which no man can shut. I am here. I am there. I am the only presence everywhere. Of all affirmations, however, the one that I recommend to you above all others, which will, if used steadily with full understanding of its meaning, raise all human activity into the ascended master octave. And that affirmation is, I am the resurrection and the life. For this reason, it was the one most used by the Master Jesus, and the one that made his raising of his own flesh form possible. If you remain calm and humble, yet determined in your dynamic application, you will, through the activity in your own feeling world, become aware of the raising activity of this call above all others and begin to understand its full meaning. A more profound meaning is not to be found. It was by the use of this consciousness that Jesus was able to accomplish what he did and what he has done. So too can you do. And it may, and I dare say it will be easier for you, for the cosmic light has reached a greater expansion today than it had at his time. Greater assistance from the ascended master octave may be given and is being given and will continue to be given until all America and the earth itself is raised into that sphere of light and attainment where all God's children are one, once again, with their own God selves. And it is one world without end. So be it. so shall it be. And so, dear ones, if you will use the I am, you will open wide the floodgates from the ascended master octave for us to flood you with assistance. Fill your worlds with a light you had not dreamed possible. And as you join our ranks, you will further see our great wisdom in releasing the teachings of the use of this expression through at this time. For it is through the continued use of and obedience to the law and the use and application of these affirmations, which are a part of that law, and daily application made by each individual in the individual's own words, that the greatest light and the greatest freedom that the world has ever known will be made possible. Mark my words. This light cannot, never has, and never will fail. For the light of God never fails. The light of God never fails. The light of God never fails. And the presence of God, I am, is that light. And I thank you. So thank you, beloveds, for listening to that incredibly potent and enlightening discourse for Saint Germain. I hope you understand now why the purification process of alchemy is so critical for your ascension. Because without being purified, we cannot work for him as a servant of light on the planet. And we cannot raise ourselves into our own rainbow bodies, our eternal, transcendent light garments. And I apologize. I know I got a little emotional there at the end. I apologize for that, but it's powerful and it's overwhelming. And talk about hope. This discourse has so much hope beaming through it for everyone on this planet. And I live here in the United States. And so for my own country, for all Americans, there is hope. For all of humanity, there is hope. We have help, and you can invoke that help by using the I am. Because as Saint Germain said, without you using the I am permission, they cannot work with you, for you, and through you. The I am statement is what gives them the permission to work with you and through you. So until my next discourse, and I'll start at the beginning with Discourse 1 and read through to Discourse 14, but of course this is Discourse 11. There's no need to repeat it. From my heart to yours, I offer you this prayer. I'm sorry. May the peace of the cosmic Christ enfold you and carry you forth on wings of light until you have reached eternal perfection. I want to thank you again for sticking with me through this video journal. I am going to put the link to my previous video journal that invites you to begin this purification process with me, with this Inanna Underworld journey. It's coming up on the 27th. You don't have to wait until the 27th. You can do it start doing it this very day. And that is working with Violet Tara and the Violet Flame. And so, you know, if this video journal has been meaningful to you in any way, please, I ask you to do 3 things which take a mere moment of your time and cost you nothing. Please like this video, please subscribe to this channel, and please ring your bell so that you'll be notified when my next video journal comes out. And by doing these things, it really helps get this information out to humanity. What a simple, quick, free way for you to be of sacred service to the upliftment and liberation of humanity by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and ringing the bell so that this content can get out to others that are waiting to discover this for themselves. Thank you, beloveds. And until the next time, take care.